Hi, it's Meredith here from Ken's and
Jordan Narber from 40 North Tap Grille.
We're making prime rib today.
Prime rib is a traditional Christmas dish. We have it every year at our house for, I think we usually do it on Christmas Eve. A lot of people can be intimidated by it because, as you may know, it's pretty expensive and no one wants to screw it up and ruin Christmas dinner. If you have a thermometer and check it periodically, there's no way you can screw this up. So we're gonna start with, this is a 5 to 7 pounder prime rib roast, and it's actually the ribeye. Anybody that's had a ribeye steak, this is what a ribeye comes off of. I'm gonna trim all this butcher twine off. Nice sharp knife to do it, scissors, kitchen shears. So I've let this rib roast sit out to get to room temperature for about 2 hours. That way it cooks evenly in the oven. You don't ever want to cook large chunks of meat cold because the center stays way colder and you'll overcook the outside. We're gonna oil this up with some canola oil or vegetable oil, whichever you guys prefer at home. Don't use olive oil. It has a higher smoke point and you're just gonna waste your money on it. So we're gonna oil this up. Nice and good there. All right, so I like to use grinded salt and grinded pepper. So a lot of salt shakers have 3 different levels, fineness to coarseness. So we're gonna use the coarsest level of each grinder because when you're doing large cuts of meat, you want that big chunks of salt and pepper to get through to the meat. So we're gonna heavily season this with salt. Working our way through the entire piece of meat. I always season with salt first so you can see it hitting the meat. Sometimes when you season with pepper first, it's hard to get the coverage with the salt. Probably feel a burn in your forearms. It's so worth it, I promise. Can't forget the sides. Okay. All right, next step is to get your roasting rack or pan. So I just have a sheet tray here with a roasting rack on it, and typically at home I would use a roasting pan that has higher edges on it to catch some of that fat and make a gravy out of it. Today we're just going to roast this off on the sheet tray. So set this right up on here just like that.
All right, so we have our wall oven preheated to 500. Why?
So we're gonna start at 500. We're gonna get a nice crust on this rib roast here, and then we're gonna drop it down to 325 and cook it the rest of the way. So that 500, it's kind of a, they call it a reverse sear or just a sear in the oven. We're just gonna sear that outside, seal all those juices in, and then we're going to slowly roast it for the rest of the time.
Perfect. And what's a good measure? Like how many minutes per pound?
So it depends on how you like your steak. So for rare is about 11 to 14 minutes per pound. And then for medium rare is about 14 to 17 minutes per pound. Now that's using a conventional oven. I believe we're using a convection oven today, correct?
We are using convection, and not only convection, we're using true European convection. So what that means is everyone knows about that bake element and everyone knows about that broil. In a normal oven setting, it's going to use both of those elements to heat the cavity. With the true European convection, there's a fan on the back with a third heating element. So it's heating it from the bottom, from the top, and from the back. In a regular convection, that fan moves one way. In a true European, not only does it have that extra element, that fan moves both ways to really get that good airflow around.
So with that being said, our cook time should be shorter.
Awesome.
All right. So we're gonna pop this in the oven at 500 for the first 8 to 10 minutes to get that nice crust on there. So another treat we like to have at Christmas in my house is caramelized Brussels sprouts. It's actually on our menu at 40 North Tap Grille as well. So I'm just gonna put a little edge on this knife real quick. It's just a steel, we're just refining the edge. It's not sharpening it. But here are our Brussels sprouts. We'll start like that. And what we're gonna do with these is we're just gonna trim this edge off right here. And then we're gonna split these right in half. Just like that. You can eat all of that. So for our Brussels sprouts, we're gonna add a little olive oil on these. Give them a nice little toss in the olive oil. Now we're going to add some more salt and then sugar. I do 2 parts sugar to 1 part salt for these Brussels sprouts. Give them a nice toss. And now, all these leaves you see, you don't want those. So we're just gonna pull all these whole sprouts out and lay them cut side down. Has to be cut side down. We're using a, what was this, Meredith?
So our oven is being preoccupied with our delicious prime rib, so we're going to use our Advanium. And this is a 5-in-1 speed cook oven. So it is a convection oven that we've already talked about. It's a microwave. It is a bread proofer. It is a regular microwave. And it is a warming drawer. So 5 things in one. And so we are going to use the convection bake option. Another cool thing with this is that since it's such a small oven cavity, there's no preheat times. There are 2 options for Advanium. There's a 120 volt or a 240. This is a 120. If you were to get the 240, it cuts your cooking time in half. It's just a higher output. And so, yeah, a little bit about the speed cook feature. It uses a halogen light. It uses that convection piece. It uses microwave all at the same time. And so microwave cooks from the inside out, convection cooks from the outside in, and that halogen really gets that good sear, and it uses all those technologies at once to really cut down your speed of your time.
Okay, the roast has been in about 45 minutes. We're gonna check it out here, see what temperature we're sitting at right now. And this oven, I'm told, has a roller rack on it. It just comes straight out for easy access. So we're gonna stick it in the deepest, thickest part of the roast. Right now we're still pretty cold. So we're wanting to get that temperature up to about 100, 105 degrees and let it rest up the rest of the way. So we got about 50 more degrees to go here. We'll roast these off at high temperature. This is at 450 degrees right now. Perfect. And we're gonna set that timer for, let's go 10 minutes.
All right, in the Monogram suite, there are 2 different styles of handles. There is the minimalist collection, and a lot of the pieces you can order, like the refrigerator or the under-counter refrigerator, ice maker, dishwasher, what they call panel ready. So you can work with your cabinet maker and make it look like a complete built-in piece with no appliance front with a cabinet door. So this is the minimalist collection, very sleek, meant to just blend into your kitchen. Over here, we have what we call our statement collection. So it's more of that pro style, the chunkier handle. And so we have a couple pieces in the minimalist, a couple pieces in the statement collection. Like I said, Monogram either comes with that cabinet ready or all professional grade stainless steel. We're going to cook the Brussels sprouts on our induction cooktop. So a little bit about induction. It's very, very efficient. It's very quick. It's very responsive. One thing I love about induction, I have an induction range at my house, and you can get very, very hot and come down to a really, really controlled temperature very fast. Another cool thing is it's really easy to keep clean because this is not your cooking surface, your pan is your cooking surface. And so if something boils over, it's not gonna burn onto the cooktop because this doesn't get super duper hot, this does. This also has some really great safety controls, as does mine at home. You can lock these controls so the little ones at home, or if you bump it, this Glide Touch control isn't gonna start. So we're gonna unlock this. And now we're ready to work. This also has a sink burners, and so you can turn both of these on and use a griddle for your bacon, pancakes, tortillas, anything like that. And very easy to control. So we're gonna turn both of these on. And instead of using them both separately, we're gonna sync these burners. And so they come all together. And it's recognizing that we don't have anything here. That's another safety feature. It's gonna shut off here in a second because it recognizes there's nothing there to work with.
So we've roasted our sprouts off here. Just get a nice little golden brown on the tops here. They're not done yet. Just gonna let those sit and cool until we're ready to plate it with the prime rib. Just want a little color on the underside there. I'm gonna tempt this again. Sizzle. See how we're getting a nice little crust on this side. So our Brussels sprouts are out of the oven. They've cooled down a little bit, and now we are going to finish them on this induction burner.
All right, so this has our Glide Touch controls, and so we're gonna turn our burner on. Do you want it low, medium, or high?
Let's go to high to start it off.
All right, so we can touch where we want it, or you can bump it down,
Okay.
or in between these lines we can Glide Touch. So,
All right.
okay.
We'll leave it at high first. We're gonna start with, about a tablespoon of butter. Get that nice and melted. All right, now we're going to start adding our Brussels sprouts. Cut side down, keeping them in that butter. Now we're gonna add our almonds. Just some sliced almonds in here. Kind of toast those up. Right now we're just caramelizing the cut side. And here in a moment I will finish all of this with honey. And there's an easy side dish. All done, ready to go. We're just reheating these, right? We're not cooking them all the way through. They're already cooked. They have a nice bite to them. We're just reheating them from the oven earlier. And then we're gonna glaze them with honey. If you're unsure, you can always just check on one, see where it's at. It's almost there. We'll check on this guy. It's almost there. We call it GBD in the kitchen, golden brown delicious. Now we're gonna add a little honey here. And give it a nice little toss. And those are complete. For presentation, just set the cut sides up. You don't really have to though. That's how I like to do it though. Just take some of these almonds and honey on top. And complete.
This is a keeper. This is the best way to do Brussels sprouts. This might be the only way to do Brussels sprouts. Cook them on a rock and they come out this way, I'd eat them.
That is one of our fall side dishes. It's our caramelized Brussels sprouts, so you can get that with any steak. You can sub that out for any side on our menu. So we've had this rib roast in for about 2 hours now. And we're gonna pull that out. Oh, that looks good. Bring it right over here. We're gonna check the temperature again on this guy. So we're right at 100 degrees right now. Now we're gonna tent it and let it rest up to get that final 120, 25 degrees, okay? Let's take a little piece of aluminum foil here. We'll just cover this guy. So now that's just gonna sit there for about the next 15 to 20 minutes. We'll check it at 15 minutes to see what time it's at or what temperature it's at, excuse me. And like I said, our end goal is 125 degrees. All right, so our resting has completed. Come right over here. When you rest meat, the juices should relax back into it and come back out instead of just spewing all over the cutting board. That means it's been rested properly. I'm gonna do one temperature check right here in the side of it. We're right up to 115. So I've brought this up to a rare. We're gonna cut into this now. And for those of you that don't like rare steaks, you can either keep cooking this or slice a hunk off and raise up the temperature from there. Perfect. I'm gonna do about a half-inch slice. On a rib roast, the center is gonna be the rarest, working our ways out to the edges. See how this is more of a medium? We have more of a medium rare to rare in there. So the more done steak lovers of the world would like an end cut. Anybody who likes it a little less done is going to take a center cut.